I called Ivan, and Ivan answered, and he said, our class started 2 weeks ago or something, so you'll have to wait till next time. I said, oh, okay, cool. And he says, well, who told you to call? I said, or how'd you find out about this? I said, well, your stepson gave me your card last night. And he said, really? He's like, how big are you? I said, I'm about 6'8". He says, really? How much you weigh? I said, about 320. He said, why don't you come over and see me this afternoon?
Oh, okay.
And I rolled over there. Y'all were in the ring. Tony was working out. Tony, I mean, there was 6 or 10, maybe it lasted 2 weeks.
Right.
It started big with a big class with Pusky, and then it dwindled down. He was a mean son. So anyway, it was down to 6 or so, and he said, well, we can catch you up. So literally, and Tony Norris, our brother, man, he we bonded because he caught me up,
Okay.
And then, but y'all trained me almost as much as Putsky or Joe Blanchard.
Blanchard, yeah.
Scott did a lot of training on us.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, but really, working with y'all because y'all were the class before,
right? We come back in and train also.
Yeah, so y'all were in there every day with man. It was that's how it worked, man. That's how I started. Houston, Texas.
Right, man. Then you went over. You went over to Tugs, right? When that folded, you went over to Tugs.
When that folded, I went to Tugs, and because I went to Tugs. And because I tried to call WWF and ANWA and WCW and all that because I got their numbers. And I called and said, hey, I got this diploma from, and they're like, dude, it was embarrassing, man. I hung up on WWF because they're like, what? Not you. I was like, click. Because I hadn't told them my name, and I was like, okay, this diploma's not going to get me into business. So, and a friend of mine had told me, he said, man, there's this guy Tugboat Taylor that's got a school,
Right.
So I rolled over there and that sketchy ass part of town, and but I talked to him, and it's funny, man. When I greeted him, he was, oh man, Putsky didn't teach you anything. You know what I'm talking about? Not everybody's gonna know. And so anyway, he said, man, I'll polish you up. So I basically started paying gym dues, and then I don't know. About that time, not too long after that, you and your brother come over, Tony come over.
Right.
I started using that gym to train.
Right.
And then we all ended up in Dallas about the same time. I think I might have went up there just weeks before y'all.
Right.
Because I actually remember talking. I don't know if we ever talked about this. Akbar asked me if I knew y'all. Hey, you're from Houston. What do you think about those guys? I don't know what he called you. I don't know what he called you back then. Probably, I don't remember what y'all were tagging as back then. But anyway, I said,
the thing was, we wasn't tagging. You got to remember.
I guess
my brother had.
But he knew y'all were brothers. So he said,
somebody might have told him.
Yeah. So he asked me about y'all, and I said, man, they're good dudes. I love those guys. Those are my boys. We all started together. He's like, all right, they got good attitudes, all that. Oh, yeah, man, they're great. And then shortly after, y'all were there. I'm not taking the credit for that because y'all were badass. But I do distinctively remember getting asked because basically somebody was trying to railroad y'all back then.
Well, I give you the real story on the whole thing. What happened? You remember Bob Murphy?
Was.
Yeah, you remember Bob Murphy?
Mm-hmm.
Remember Bob used to come around, take all the pictures and stuff like that? Well, Bob used to take all those pictures and put them in those independent wrestling magazines.
They did.
And the global guys saw my picture.
Right.
And that's when, like you said at the beginning of the show, I was the Super Collider.
Sure.
And Hot Stuff, I think you worked with Hot Stuff, didn't you?
Yeah, I was there right before Hot Stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
I think the first night Eddie Gilbert took over, he came in the next weekend. I went up there, dude. I went up there to tag team. I was going to tag with man, what was he called? He ended up being the Godfather, but he was the Soul Collector or the Soul Taker or something. Remember, he went on to be the Godfather. So that I was the Body Snatcher. They brought me up to tag team with the Soul Taker or whatever. And then, but he went to WWF that weekend. Because of that, they killed the gimmick and they brought me back. I did a couple of weeks that way. And then they, so 4, 5, 6 shows. And then they brought me back as Big Bad John. And that's where I had the feud with Eddie Gilbert. And you were in the dressing room by then, I think.
No. I didn't talk to Eddie. Eddie is the one that brought me in for a tryout. And I just happened to tell my brother to come with me. So apparently Eddie didn't know I had a brother.
Oh, okay.
So because I was a heel then, my brother was a babyface. So I came into Eddie's office because they had saw those pictures.
Right.
But nobody told Eddie I had a brother. Somebody might have told Akbar I had a brother. But I think we had worked on some shows.
Or maybe I mistook brothers when they said the Big Brothers. Maybe they meant Big Brothers. It was
possible.
90s, brother.
Possibly, you know what I'm saying?
The Big Brothers down in Houston? I'm like, oh, yeah, they're my boys. They might just meant a different whole kind of Big Brother.
So that's a possibility. But what I'm saying, we didn't come down as a tag team. I came down to get a tryout, and my brother because, we got family in Dallas. Mm-hmm. So I just said, hey, man, come go with me. You know what I'm saying? So we can kind of kill two birds with one stone, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And go see some of my family members the next day because, we used to tape on Friday nights.
Right.
So my brother came with me and he came in the dressing room the dressing room and the office after they did the TV taping. And then when we walked in together, Eddie goes, "Who's that?" I go, "That's my brother." They go, He go, "Brother?" He said, "Does he work?" I go, "Yeah."
His ass off.
Yeah,
he works.
Say, nobody told me you had a brother.
Wow. And
I was like, yeah. He said, well, how long have you been working? I said, oh, no, we started in the business together. Then he sit down in his chair. He was like, what? Almost like, how could this get by me? Why nobody told me this? Right. So we figured out what it was later on, what was up.
Yeah, you know what Dallas click.
It is what it is.
Yeah. So.
But then he was like, okay, man, y'all come back next week. Mm-hmm. And we thought, okay, it's already late. We get a chance to talk to the guy. He said, come back next week. I'm like, okay. So we went through this whole drill again a week later. Wow, he sits down in his chair and says, I got an idea. And I want to know if you guys can do what I've been thinking. I've been thinking about bringing in a babyface tag team, African-American tag team. I don't think he said African-American back then. I think he just said black.
Yeah,
wasn't politically correct back then, but who gives a shit, right?
Right.
And he said, that's well-dressed, well-spoken baby faces, and I want to try to put the push on them. You guys think y'all can do that? And we were like, yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, have you guys ever tagged before? And me and my brother ain't never tagged before, ever. I'm going to tell you when we tagged. Once we tagged, when we were in wrestling school. They had brought these two guys down from Amarillo, okay? And they threw me and my brother in the ring. We didn't know what the hell we was doing.
Right.
These two guys beat the dog shit out of me and my brother. You know what I'm saying? Because we were just lost. But, then what happened after that, we started tagging against each other a lot of times. So we got the tag team formula down. We told Eddie, yeah, we tagged together before. He didn't ask us in what version had you tagged. So we said, yeah. So that's how he said, come back next week with your gear and everything. We're going to give it a try. That's how the whole thing got started, man.